Welcome everybody to this version of Beers with Bill. It is my great pleasure to welcome back Graham Spence, one of the owners of Block 3 Brewing and the Village Beer Garden. Graham, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we're going to start with the Rice Lager Extra Dry tonight.
Yeah. So this is we did this one last summer. It's a 4%, really nice, easy drinking beer. It's based off like of a Japanese, I guess the Asahi Super Dry would be the big commercial example that you would find. So it's based off that, a little like higher in carbonation, really light malt notes. It's meant as like a patio hot weather beer. So it's we liked it a lot last year, so we decided to bring it back again for the summer. Did one batch of it, and yeah,
I can see that. Ice cold on a patio on a hot day, be perfect.
Yeah, and it's like I think I've used this before. It's beer flavored beer, right? So
yeah.
It appeals to not just like craft beer drinkers, but I think it to macro beer drinkers as well. So
yeah,
I would assume that most macro beers probably put rice in their beers anyway. There's something cheaper to put in, but
do you have to do things differently when you're putting rice in?
No, so. I mean, for it to be considered beer, it has to be 51% malt. So there, there's nothing else. Like, we're not putting the white rice that you cook in a rice cooker for. We're not. That's not like it's a different like a malted rice type thing that goes in. So nothing. The process stays fairly similar. So
yep, it doesn't give you any grief when it comes time to empty everything afterwards. The mash tun.
Yeah, so I think there's a different. That's a good question. So, so like the rice, there's the rice lager. Yeah, I would say there's different malt bills, different yeast strain would typically be used, and different hops. Although, actually, no, they're probably the same hops. I was just in, I'm actually drinking my fancy new Czech beer mug. So I got back in May from a beer mission to the Czech Republic for a week, where I was drinking Czech Pilsners, a lot of them. And so we did a bunch of tours of like hop yards and malt producers. And I think the biggest export area for Czech hops is Japan. So I saw a lot of hops going to Asahi, Sapporo. So the hops are probably fairly similar. I think it's just the different brewing technique. And like a Czech Pilsner, they do they call it like a double or triple decoction mash, where they separate some of the mash out, would boil it up. And I think it just extracts a bit more of the sugars, makes it a little sweeter. Whereas like the rice lager would kind of be more like it's super clean, crisp, easy drinking.
So I'm after an opinion. We're like 2 years into a pandemic and everything that's happened. I'm curious how you feel the craft beer industry has changed over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's changed. I mean, I think I think what's changed is like some of the breweries that everyone thought were like, super well positioned and doing great. Made me notice that they weren't doing so hot. And I'll use Bose as an example. I think I think the pandemic showed some weaknesses in different business models, and some of the smaller breweries that were a bit more nimble and able to adapt quicker to things were able to weather the storm a little bit better than some of the bigger ones that relied heavily on growth and restaurants.
Yeah, that has had a big impact on everybody, losing the restaurant trade. If that was your market and your business model, really hurt. So,
Well, yeah, your business went from up here to non-existent in literally a 12-hour shift, right? So, um, yeah, I think we're probably still. I'd say we're probably still small, like small enough in that range. I don't know. I don't think there's not been a ton of acquisition activity in Ontario yet. The Boba Steam Whistle one is obviously the biggest, and I think that was done out of necessity from Bose and from Steam Whistle. They moved all their production out of the Roundhouse and put a big brewery in Etobicoke, and they needed to fill up space in that brewery in order to probably to justify the cost. So I think that was a marriage of necessity on both ends for them, and yeah, I mean, I think from my knowledge, I know there's a few others that have changed hands, but not a ton. So we would probably be on the too small to matter at this point.
has the way that you allocate your resources or your time changed through the last year?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually, I mean, before, like in the last, I'd say, 2 years ago when it started, we switched mostly to focusing on trying to drive the local delivery and online sales. We still do a little bit of that, but I mean, it's way down. I mean, thankfully, as the retail went down, the deliveries went up, and now as retail goes up, the deliveries go down, right? So it's, I still think there is a market for us in that, that we're not quite capitalizing on in that local delivery, and there's still people that are going to the LCBO, and that's a kind of a market that we can service. But at the same time, it's the profit margin for us is better when people come to the retail store and sit and have a beer and tasting paddle, and then can take cans to go. So.
Did you see, or has there been a continual uptick in people buying kegs for home use?
Yeah, we've always had a pretty decent amount of doing that, but I have noticed a bit more people buying those kegerators and putting them in. I think that goes in cycles. You get it, and then you get super excited that you have it, and then you probably don't monitor how much you're actually drinking out of it, and then it slows down a little bit, and then you go back, right? So
yeah, I get Graham's point. Yeah, that and an air fryer.
Yeah. Well, when the air fryers didn't they all mostly get recalled because of fire issues?
There was a point where a bunch of them got recalled because of issues. I'm curious what the typical workday looks like for you now.
Well,
is there such a thing as a typical workday?
Not really. No. Mondays would probably be the most typical, where I get to do I do all the paperwork and everything like that from last week. The previous week, I set up make sure everything's updated the website and send out our licensee list or delivery list. I just kind of do all the back end accounting work, but yeah, I mean, that sometimes doesn't happen because it changes. So.
What's sort of the main thing that comes to mind right now that you're dealing with on a regular basis?
Say one of the big things is the change in input costs. We've noticed the cost of ingredients, cans, packaging has gone up quite a bit, and it's hard. It's a tough one between what can you absorb and what can you pass on. I think Yeah, I think that's always a tough balancing act. So
That is particularly for any small enterprise.
yeah,
A Fortune 500 company could just pass it through. No one's going to do anything about it.
for sure. Yeah. Whereas like with us, there's like even in the craft space, right? Like there's other breweries that are larger that have bigger economies of scale, right? Whether it's
Yep.
if you're brewing 5,000 liters or 2,000 liters or 1,000 liters or even 300 liters, the cost of brewing it is the same, right? It takes the same amount of time, labor wise. Now yeah, so like,
Yeah.
And same with packaging and all that stuff. It's so yeah, like your input cost, like the economies of scale are tougher for us than, someone like Molson or even Great Lakes or other breweries like that. But then I get there's also tougher for breweries like Counterpoint. So
what you're saying is you can't do what Budweiser did, which is buy your can supplier.
no, no, no.
How?
I'm surprised they don't do more of that, though. To be honest, like they have the money, like, when all the IPAs were the rage, or they are still the rage. But I'm surprised they didn't go out and just buy all the sexy hops that, here we'll contract it at this price and say screw you to all the breweries that are trying to buy it.
And then they would light them on fire or something. Right?
Yeah.
It would definitely have an impact. That's for sure. So. How is the supply chain for packaging, like in cans and that right now?
It seems fine. I think there was worry before that there'd be shortages, but like the suppliers we work with have been able to source other or cans from other areas as well. So we haven't run into any shortages. I'm going to knock on wood here because I don't want that to come back and bite me in the ass. Yeah. But yeah, so like for us so far, it's been fine. I mean, some of the things to take it, some of the boxes and stuff like that have taken a little longer than usual. But we try to order stuff ahead of time. Shrinkflation.
Derek, you're gonna have to, Graham, you're gonna have to ask that one of Graham.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. No, I mean, I think sometimes you do. I guess you do see that if the, I see some of the prices of some of the small cans are the same price as some of the tall cans, but so I don't know. I don't think I've seen a brewery go out and there isn't it's not like I could get a 450 ml can readily available on the market, right? There's pretty standard sizes, but I haven't seen anyone just jump down from a tall cans to short cans and then charge the same price. Although I wouldn't put that past some people.
Yeah. Graham and I are probably the only two that remember that time period way back when inflation was high in the 80s. And we also brought the metric system in.
Oh, okay.
There was a whole bunch of suppliers that went to the metric packaging where it went from 12 to 10 in a package.
I mean,
same price as 12, but it went from 12 to 10.
I swear that's happened for I look at Halloween candy now, and Derek, you're in the same vintage as me, I'm pretty sure, right? If you see Halloween candy now, that's some small ass candy. There's definitely been some shrinkflation in that stuff.
You've done a number of interviews.
It one teeth, whereas it used to rot two or more, right?
Yeah.
The damage is not as much.
Yeah. Nobody will remember the day Donnie came in upset because the bits and bolts bag was now 15% smaller than it was, and it was more money. So, you've done a number of interviews. I'm wondering if there's a question you wish people would ask you, but they never ask it of you.
No, I don't think so. I don't really. I've never thought about that, but I think I'm pretty open with any question that gets asked. So I probably sometimes say too much.
It's perfectly okay.
What one thing made the difference in the past 2 years? I think for us, you know, it was like we had some of the online presence set up already. We had, I think I've mentioned this probably before, but we had a secret website on the out there already for online ordering that we sent out that office people could order from. So it was pretty easy to turn that around to open it up for local delivery. So yeah, I mean, I think that made a big difference. And then I think just all of us we're all pretty relaxed and willing to do anything. So it's like, you know, some days, you know, we weren't brewing as much, but you know, like, you know, the guys like Kevin and James in the back would watch the front. I'd go do deliveries. So I think everyone was wearing every different hat there, and you know, no one complained. I think we just all did what we had to do, and it worked out.
Good. Which beer are we going to try next?
I think we're going to go to the Village Lager.
Yep.
Sorry, I saw Cam had something in there. I didn't really see what it was.
Yes, I'm going to get to that in a second. I just wanted you to talk a little bit about the Village Lager, and then I'll ask that for you.
Yeah, so this is like again, this is another easy drinking lager. Milk, a little bit more malt forward, a little bit amber in color, sweeter caramel notes. I think it's just a nice, clean beer. So.
Yeah. So Cam's question, he's down the road that IPAs are still really popular, and you know they've lasted a lot longer in the realm of craft beer than anyone ever thought it was going to. But then you got sours and gozes, which took off and then waned a little bit and take off and wane a little bit. Last summer, smoothies were huge, whereas this summer it's not that much of a thing. So he's curious if you have any idea what's the next thing coming down the pipeline in craft beer.
I think it's lagers.
Yeah,
I think that's what's I think that's what's happening. Especially, you know, I think what you're seeing is that people just want nice, easy drinking beers. I mean, there's still be that market for those big, huge imperial stouts. And I mean, IPAs and pale ales have been around for a while. So I don't see them going anywhere. But yeah, I think the next it'll be, you know, but a lot of different craft lagers coming.
Talking about session IPAs, was wondering if it waned off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think, like, you know, I know for the summer we always try to keep it like 6.5 and below, although like just for, you know, ease of drinking. But I think the problem with some of these session IPAs were, you know, the thought was like, hey, we can get this like low alcohol beer and hop it like an IPA, but then they ended up most of them that I've tasted are just super watery, and they don't quite hit the mark. I mean, there's been a few that are nice, and I'm drawing a blank on them, but I think that's kind of. I think you are seeing a bunch of people trying to do some low alcohol too. I would say it's lagers and low alcohol beers are kind of the
big thing that's trending right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Something that, you know, 5 years ago you would never have seen every craft brewer making a lager or a pilsner.
Correct. Yeah.
Now everyone's doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek's curious how the cider worked out for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing the cider. It's it's. I think we're on our 6th or 7th batch of it, so we just tried one. I think we've done 2 experimental versions. The first one actually. Have you tried the paquettes from Benjamin Bridge, Phil?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's the blue can one, which is like the sea salt and citra hops. So we did we did a pilot on that based on that. So we used our cider. We salted it with sea salt and then citra hopped it, and it was really nice. So we only did like 100 liters of that. I hope we do another bigger batch of that. The last one we did we tried to do a fruited version. And when we were trying it, it was really nice, but they sent us the wrong fruit and we just went with it. And I think it didn't turn out as nice as I thought. It's still okay, but not quite where we thought.
I'm intrigued by the salted. So do you source your sea salt from a particular spot, or you just buy whatever you can get?
We were just to be honest, on a 100-liter batch, we just bought whatever we could get. I would, if we were to do like the full 1,000 liters, I would try to source something like something a little bit better than, I think we use, to be honest, Windsor sea salt.
It's readily available.
Yeah. So we maybe try to source something a little bit better, but I mean, if you're, I find those, to be honest, I'm not a big wine drinker, but I find those paquettes from Benjamin Bridge super interesting, and I'm kind of gravitating towards that kind of light wine beverage as well. Like I think I've ordered a few times, so I've got their. They had a new one like the sea foam and whatever, I don't know what, and the green can. So we've got those in the house too. But I tried that the citra and sea salt, and I was like, oh my goodness, like it's really light, refreshing, and it just reminded me of summer. I was like, I think we could do something like this with our cider, and the batch we did turned out really nice. So I think we just have to. The summer is a hard time for us because we're just going crazy. So, I think we need to get a full batch of the regular cider out, and maybe we'll talk about doing a full batch right after of the other one. So,
how are things at the Village Beer Garden?
Good. Yeah. I mean, it's nice when the weather's nice. So,
Always the issue in Canada is whether it's raining or it's too hot.
Yeah, we're also
it is patio season.
It is patio season, and I mean, like I went there tonight after work, and it was a perfect night to sit outside and have a beer. So it's going well, and we've got some really good people working there. So I think I'm excited to see where that goes in the next couple months, and
Terry's not here, Terry and Emma, but I have to ask this question. What beer have you tried recently that made you go, damn, I wish we'd make this beer at Block 3? Especially since you just got back from the Czech.
Yeah, I was just I was gonna say there was this so there's a few. We were in when I was in Prague, there's a brewery there called Ufleku, and they brew this dark lager, and that's all they do. And I think the brewery's been around since 1458, and man, was it good! Like, just so smooth, easy drinking. There was no roastiness, no bitterness. Like I was just confused. Like how was this happening? And like that was that, and then the actual the Budvar brewery, when we were down in the the cellars there. They're like regular Budvar out of the tank was really nice.
You got
And they
to go
have
to
this
the
actually.
cellars.
They had this Christmas lager that they do. I think they said they aged it for like 9 months. And when I had it, Cam, you'll like this one. It was like a 9% lager, but it tasted like a Belgian triple.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It had that like sweetness, that candied.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. I mean, I think they export most of their stuff. Like, I would look for that. I think they, like there got to be a way. It's probably get somewhere in the States, but yeah, their Christmas, their Czech bar or whatever it is here, their Christmas lager. Holy smokes! Like 9%, smooth. Like it's just like a Belgian triple.
Is that getting into like a Bach territory, double Bach territory? Bach's
What's that?
Is that getting into like a Bach territory or a double Bach territory?
No, it was light. It was a light. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I can't. Yeah, it was just like their. I mean, I think they brewed to a higher gravity, but yeah, it was really nice. And I know you like Belgian, so.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
Maybe we should try brewing one of those next spring, Graham, for the release at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Before Christmas.
We'll have to
they probably release it around the first part of November, don't they?
Probably, yeah, for like the Christmas markets and all that. So
yeah. That sounds really intriguing. A 9% Christmas lager.
Yeah. Yeah, 9% pale lager. It was nice.
Yeah. Derek was curious if there's competitive establishments in the craft scene in St. Jacobs, or is it just Block 3 in the Village Beer Garden?
No, I mean, there's the Fat Sparrow group has the Jacobs Grill. So Fat Sparrow is they had Taco Farm and Nick and Nat's. I think you used to have Marbles as well, uptown Waterloo. So they've been in town for a while. I mean, I like Nick. We work really well together. So I think what they bring to the village is it's good, and we need that. So, and I think he would say the same about us and the Village Beer Garden. So from that standpoint, I mean, I would say I should say we probably want more too. We want the more there is, the more people that would come out, right? So. The other one would be, I know that Stockyards or Red Circle Brewing, I believe they're planning on opening a brewery at the St. Jacobs Market. I don't know. I've heard that's still 2 or 3 years out, but they've got equipment in there apparently.
Wow. Okay. I knew that they were planning it. I just didn't know how far along they were.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I guess they went all in naming it Stockyards, right? Which is that building. So
yeah, I think so there was a change in ownership. That was like when we're talking about the change in ownership. There's a change in ownership in that around that time of the rebrand. So the Schlegel group that bought the market for like 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, or maybe 5. They have they're big in like building retirement homes and retirement communities. So they bought the market from the previous owners, and then they bought Red Circle and renamed it Stockyards.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Which beer are we going to try next?
We will go to the hashtag beer pun, Belgian Wit.
Okay.
Where is everyone tonight?
I'm not sure.
Pretty soon, Bill, I'm gonna have to start doing these calls with a baby, I think.
Uh-oh.
It's an
2 weeks to go.
intriguing taste.
Yeah, so this, like, I guess, like the big commercial example of this would be like the Hoegaarden, right? So it's like clove, citrus, coriander.
Yeah.
Yeah, a typical Belgian wit. And
Yeah.
I mean, I always forget, like, because again, we only do this in the summer. I always forget until it comes out. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do like that. Like, so yeah, I mean, I think it's another one that's out there for the summer. It's a nice, refreshing, easy drinking.
Yep. And Mr. Hardy, to answer your question, no, it was not a fire sale. It was a planned acquisition. So.
What's that
Just
mean?
going through
Like
my
they
list
made
of notes
them-
here.
Does that mean they
Sorry?
made themselves an attractive target to be bought? Is that what you mean by that?
Well, Graham was curious if it was a fire sale.
No, I just don't know what you mean by planned
Oh,
acquisition.
the St. Jacobs Market was literally burned down or something like that.
Well,
I see what you
yes.
did there.
so like, I mean, the Mercedes. So Mercedes Group was the one that owned the market before. They also owned most of St. Jacobs. So I think, I mean, I don't want to say they was definitely not a fire sale. They didn't, but they did liquidate pretty all of their holdings. I think it was multi-generational, so they had like a lot of older, like a lot of different shareholders in there that were probably looking to finally cash out their investments, and yeah, and I think they did all right.
Yeah, they did do all right. And it probably was a bunch of, you got it right, a bunch of older people who weren't prepared for the expense and time it would take to rebuild the market.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, do I really want to do this right now? No, just give me my money. I'm gonna go do something else now.
yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't just a market. They owned the thing across the street, basically all the hotels there, all the land the hotels are on.
Yeah.
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 I
They
think,
owned,
I think,
they
I
owned
think
a
the
huge
market
chunk
was
of real
sold for
estate.
like $40 million. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a decent sale.
So just for idle curiosity, you share with us the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given. Oof. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I'm trying to think. I honestly can't think. No.
Or we can go the other way. We can go, what was the best piece of advice you received from somebody that you totally ignored, and that was the best thing you could have done?
Oh, that was an easier one. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be, I remember telling my parents that we were opening the brewery, and my mom was like sick to her stomach, and you're just gonna, flush your money down the drain, and what are you doing? And so I think that one, and I mean, I still went forward with it, but I think the apology a couple years later was nicer. So.
Yes, I know. My mom used to go, "Can't you just get a real job like everybody else and work 9 to 5?"
Yeah. Well, I'm an accountant, but she was a real accountant. So
Yeah.
like she had done, in the big firms, and she was based out of Hamilton, so she did a bunch of the wineries, and it's a different business than the brewing, right? They're in land speculation and planting, and whereas we're just producing, right? We're not waiting 5 years for a vintage. We're waiting 5 weeks. So
It does take a different mindset in the winery because yes, 5 years before you can start actually harvesting usable crop, and then another 18 to 24 months before you actually have a vintage you can sell.
Yeah, and sometimes your crop might not take. So I don't know. There might be someone on this call who knows something about that, but yeah. So that was one, I guess.
Well, at least you apologized.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What's the most unusual hop you're using right now?
Most unusual hop.
Are you doing any of the exotic new stuff or?
Yeah, I think on the last order we placed, it's a numbered hop, so I don't even know. It'd be like hop 1, 5, 6, 7. I don't know.
Yeah.
So just like an experimental hop that they're trying. So I think we've got that going into our next IPA. It'll be called Timescape, but yeah, that's it. We'll generally try like that stuff. Like when we get the chance, we'll always take a gamble on a new hop, or if there's like a new hop product or something like that, we'll give it a go.
What are you most looking forward to now that we're sort of coming back to what is going to be our new normal?
Yeah, I think it's just. I mean, it's nice seeing people coming back, and it's getting to know people again, right? I think like before I would know most of the people that would on certain nights that would come in. So, which I mean, I'm sure you would know that as well at kickoff, right? So,
yeah,
and I think that's part of it. Like that social aspect of things has been missed pretty dearly. So,
yeah, that's probably been sort of the hardest thing of the last 2 years was not socially interacting with anybody physically.
Yeah. I mean, this is a nice medium, especially for people, all over the place. But it doesn't take the place of going out and face to face and actually seeing people, right? So,
yeah, it was nice to chat with you at the bar the other night,
other
afternoon. So, although I had no idea you were supposed to season a chalkboard when you painted it.
Nor did I, no. Should we do a pop-up kickoff bar at the brewery one night?
We should pick a night and do that. Yes. That would be interesting. So
I'd have to bring in the TV and put some soccer on or get
any kind of sports.
Yeah.
I rarely ever got to watch much of a game because I was usually busy, but I never realized until I couldn't watch the games how much I was going to miss that. Being able to actually watch what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be fun. That'd be interesting to do. I'd be down. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that.
And I won't be working.
Okay. I'll be working. Actually, Jackie and I talked about that once, that it would be nice if I guest bartended every so often somewhere.
Yeah.
So, we have had a couple of pop-up kickoffs, whereas I've been doing a little bit of work with Matt and Brett at Reverence.
Yeah.
And the first one was I was done at 4, and Jackie came up with me, and she made arrangements with Graham to meet at Shortfinger Rob's.
Oh yeah.
And I invited a few other people. So it's like, if I'm going to be there, I'll just invite a few other people. So it also happened to be the day that Counterpoint reopened. So Graham, Jackie, and I wandered over to Counterpoint.
Oh, nice.
Afterwards. So, the post-Corona tour. Yeah.
Was there a lime involved?
Will have to be for that one, I guess. Back last fall, you were doing a spontaneous.
Yes.
How did that go?
It went all right. I mean, I think, like I said, I think we've realized like the There was, I mean, I think I would say you mentioned reverence. I think Matt would realize this too. Like the market for that kind of like for barrel aged beers is super small, and with more and more breweries doing it, like it's not a the beer took a long time. The beer took a long time to sell through.
Yeah, the dynamics have really changed going from bottles to cans, hasn't it?
Oh, crazy! I mean, I think we can probably all remember like 5 years ago, like it was like every new release was a barrel aged something, right? And
yeah,
now I don't like no one's doing that because it doesn't work.
Well, yeah, the model's changed.
And it has, yeah.
Because the consumer's changed.
Yeah, I mean the consumer wants to now. I mean now they want something easy to take around and interact, like easy drinking beer and.
Cryotherapy.
All right, moving on. All right. Yeah, this is our American Pale Ale. So we brewed this one actually for one of the beer wars that we did like 4 or 5 years ago. So that was where every brewery had to brew so they selected a style and every brewery had to brew the same style. This was okay. Yeah, so this was the winner that we won the Beer Wars trophy. I think it was mostly all the local breweries that participated. So,
yeah.
So, yeah.
So
Our record in Beer Wars was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. So,
you were for quite a while one of the most experimental breweries in the region.
Sure. Yeah.
And I loved every time was like that sort of standing thing. Graham, whenever you bring out a new beer, make sure you just drop me off a keg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're still. I mean, we're I think a little less experimental now with we've got more full-time beers and whatever, but I think we still experiment with different processes and we do have new beers as well that come out. So
yeah, I guess I should qualify my statement. It's changed not because you've changed. It's changed because the markets have changed.
Sure. Yeah. I think the one thing is I don't think we've ever been trend chasers. Like you've never seen one of those like Sparkly Puff IPAs from us, or the big huge imperial stouts that are filled with whatever, or you name it. Like I think we kind of skip the gimmicks and
yeah. But you have consistently made great beer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Thank you.
And that is what counts in this industry.
I think so. Yeah, I think you can. I mean, a lot of people chase those fads, and I think that's good for a little while, but it's not sustainable, right? You have to produce good beer, and if you produce good beer and you have a good product and you have a good way of getting it out there to people, and you're personable and you have a good space for people to come into, I think that that does it, right? So.
Well, and the other thing, you got the personable part. People can still walk into Block 3 and run into you there.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Conversation with you because you're there. So.
No. So I would say I wouldn't consider us first and foremost a Belgian style brewery. I'd say at the beginning, yes, that would be. We were definitely more in that leaning towards that. I'd say now it's more like we're more balanced, but I mean I think we still produce more Belgian beers than most breweries do, right? And we've got our King Street that's full time, and then we'll do I think every year we do this, a single, double, triple, quad, Belgian wit, Belgian amber. So yeah, I think in the, I wouldn't say we're like Belgian style, but we still produce Belgian beers. I'd say we're just more diversified now at this point.
Yeah, that would be a fair assessment of it. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Can you share with us what's coming up next with Block 3?
Yeah. So the summer is a little busy. So we've got basically trying to keep up stock with our kind of main ones, and then I know we've got a new IPA coming out next year in 2-3 weeks called Timescape. That's using some of the experimental hops that we were bringing in. We're going to do a few different new fruited fickle mistresses. And then we've got a couple different. We're looking at doing a Schwartz beer. We got a Schwartz beer in the docket there. So what our kind of first foray into the dark lager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did you get the recipe when you were over in the Czech Republic?
I should have stolen it.
That would have been interesting find out how they actually made that one.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there was some of the microbreweries we went to. They were just, here's a recipe for whatever, and I was like, so I mean, there was some of them that we got. I think like anywhere, like so, like you think of Czech Republic, like there's craft breweries all over there, and their North American style beers are awful. Awful. If you ever go to Europe, do not get like a IPA pale. Nothing. Please do not.
Is that because that's how they view our beer?
I don't know. I just think they don't know how to do it. Like that's one of the things I said. Like they brought us in this trade mission on like how to brew great Czech beer, and I wish like we could do the same and bring them over here. Like, please don't brew bad IPAs like that.
How hard can it be? You throw some hops in, don't worry about it.
Like I mean, these were like the Ontario IPAs of 15 years ago that were out there. It was rough.
What's next for Graham?
Nothing. Just I mean, right now for me it's just get the boys. I take the boys to school in the morning, pick them up. So summer's nice. I'll get a little breather from that, but nothing. Oh,
who's your favorite up and coming new brewer?
Yeah, it's tough because like I don't get it. Like when we first started, I would go out and every new place that would come up, I would go check out, and like I'd been everywhere, and it's been so tough to do that. Kevin and I went up and we took our boys up to my parents up in Thornbury one weekend, and we tried out Still Fields out there. It's in Meaford, and they're producing some really nice. Their Grisette and Saison are really, really, really nice.
Would you share with us, if you can, your funniest beer story?
I think that the first one that comes to mind would be the doing up the I'm drawing a blank on the name here, but we did Kevin when Kevin had his first child. We did up a beer label for him. He hates AC/DC and pumpkin beers. Um, so we did this. We had this fake label made up, and we put it on these cans, and we sent it out like we were releasing these beers. And like as soon as the baby was born, he rushed up there. He was like, "Are you guys fucking kidding me? You guys are doing this pump? You guys did this pumpkin beer behind my back," and it was just a joke.
He was a little upset, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. It was like we had like 6 labels, so we had made it all look up like it was a real release, and yeah, I think it was called it was called pumpkin. I forget. I don't know, but yeah, he was not happy. I think he laughed after, but
I take time off to have a child, and this is what you guys do.
yeah. So that started our thing of every time someone like one of us goes off and has a child or does something, we always put out a beer with their name on it. So
Graham, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your stories with us tonight. We really
Hey, no
appreciate
worries.
the gift of your time.
I appreciate you guys having me on.